You ever just scroll down through the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account, seeing their super funny and hashtag relatable memes, only to see a PNG of our favorite spiky blue rodent and ask yourself, why the hell does he look like that? It's something many Sonic fans have been asking each other for years now. Why does Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, one of the most iconic and well-designed characters in the world, always look so lifeless and stiff in promotional artwork? This is when the other half of the fanbase jump over to scream, "It doesn't matter!" Boy, Sonic fans sure do complain about everything. So now I'm gonna start complaining about them complaining, and it'll turn into this never-ending headache. So let me start this off by saying, is this the end of the world? No. But are people allowed to voice their opinions on inconsequential matters if it interests them? Yeah. And it's not even like this is that inconsequential. Like, I don't know if you're aware of this or anything, but these depictions of Sonic and Friends are arguably the versions of them we see the most. On lunchboxes, arcade machines, promotional advertisements. When someone says Sonic the Hedgehog, a large amount of the public most likely don't think of this guy, or this guy, they think of this guy. But Sonic is Sonic! I know Sonic is Sonic, just let me complain. My main point here is that a lot of franchises usually get to a point where they become incredibly saturated. Like, the character has evolved more and more to the point where nothing else can really be innovated on. And I think it results in this form where, sure, they look like the character, but there's just some strange, indescribable lack of heart and soul to it. But whereas franchises like Mario and Crash go through this boring rough patch, and eventually start to move on from it, we've been seeing this same tired old iteration of Sonic for almost 15 years. And we've only just begun feeling as if we've started moving past it. So today I want to talk about these Sonic the Hedgehog renders, why they're so bad, and why I think Sega justifies using them for so long. Like, if you want a good comparison for good-looking characters, then why not check out the amazing ones featured over on Raid Shadow Legends? Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play RPG with over 80 million downloads already. You wouldn't think it because of the amazing PC quality graphics, but it's available right now on your mobile device. With over 7,000 unique champions to collect and billions of ways to customize, you'll be taking on the stellar bosses in your own style and way. My top 3 places to play Raid Shadow Legends: go. 1, bed. 2, bus. 3, shower.
I think, Dash, it's been 2 hours.
I love everything about this game, from the champions' designs to the tough bosses. There's nothing I love more than waking up in the morning and having me some Raid. I can't stop playing now that Call of the Arbiter's in full swing. They've added all these new champions, like Arctic, who's available for free right now, as long as you log into Raid for 7 days between now and July 24th. That's like a whole month. You're not doing anything between now and then, I know. So check out Raid today in the description, or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses, like the Epic Night Errant, energy refills, XP boosters, and more. So once again, check out my QR code, or the link in the description, and I'll see you on the battlefield. When you look at the renders for Sonic games, especially during the advent of 3D gaming, you can see a natural evolution of the way it's presented, from the simple shapes of the Saturn era, to his loose and shiny look from Adventure to Heroes, all the way to when he got his more current redesign in 06 that was later refined and unleashed. You can see them slowly getting closer and closer to the perfect modern Sonic model. Not design-wise, I know we all have our preferences, but I guess I mean the most universal, something that can be used on anything. Like, you look at Sonic 06 Sonic, this super serious, lanky, more edgy version of the character. He can't be put on kids' pajamas or socks without looking a little unfitting. Sonic's evolution definitely seemed more in line with trying to target the brand more towards a general audience of all ages. A Mario, if you will. These versions of Sonic were meant to represent the brand in the most broad way possible, which explains why they look so generic and lifeless. Because they have to fit with an infinite amount of scenarios. Apps, posters, food, clothing, basically, whatever you could fit a Sonic sticker on. The reason we see these renders used so much is a simple result of them probably just being readily available in whatever marketing supplies Sega gives to companies to use. It's a helpful way of making sure the brand is kept controlled and consistent. But the thing is though, what they're giving out look shit. These are not the version of Sonic and Friends that should be most recognized. And this isn't some modern versus classic debate, this is just in how they look. Translating modern Sonic to a 3D model has been something Sega has struggled with for years. Look at Mario's model evolution and you can see the through line, you can see their thought process. But with Sonic, it's all over the place. They couldn't definitively decide what they wanted him to be, which is why I can at least understand them having finally reached that place and then wanting to stick to it for so long. But the simple fact of the matter is, this looks bad. The worst part is they've started bleeding into the games too. Sega All-Star Racing, Sonic 4, these boring, palatable versions of the characters have become the norm, and we still see it to this day. The safe baby version of Sonic that cares more about fitting on a baby bib rather than looking cool. Why does his arm look like that? We can't possibly have Sonic smirking. That's too much emotion. The sharp edges on his teeth might make him look a little threatening. So now we've got this, blah. It's extended to his friends too. I don't know about you guys, but I personally hate the way characters like Amy and Knuckles are presented now. Even as a kid, I always thought there was something kind of off about these renders. Their strange heads and oddly realistic shoes, worn and torn and dirty, why? I think Sega has tried too hard to make Sonic and his friends' heads circular. If you look at old model sheets for him during the Adventure era, his eyes are put at the front of his face. It allows that part to look sorta flat, which makes it work more with close-up angles. Whereas on newer models, his eyes are giant, almost wrapping around the back of his head, which gives him this bizarre fisheye look when close-up. Makes it really hard to take him seriously during more emotional scenes like Frontiers is filled with. Makes him look so goofy. Amy has this exact same issue. It causes them to all look genuinely super ugly in-game, and in certain renders. Like, what the fuck happened to Knuckles in recent times? Why did his head get so flat? He doesn't look good at all from a front angle anymore, because of how they structured his dreadlocks. Early on, especially in Adventure, the back of his head and hair were way bigger, which makes him not look like SpongeBob when he shaves his head off. If you look as far back as classic Knuckles, even newer depictions of him, including the recent announcement of Sonic Superstars, they really emphasize the back of his head to give his dreadlocks some room to breathe. Whereas now they're all bunched together, makes him look bald in certain renders. Also, I get these guys are all goofy cartoons and all, but if we're gonna go out of our way to decrease the height of them and make Sonic's spine smaller, can we at least do the same for their giant fucking hands? Posing these characters in a 3D space has gotta be a nightmare, because they have these giant fucking mittens. It's why Boom and Movie Sonic intentionally made their hands and feet smaller. These look so awkward. Jesus Christ, I sure am bitching today a lot, aren't I? Sorry for all the negativity, I know the fan base is allergic to it. I'm just kinda giving my thoughts out point blank and seeing where it goes, but I don't know, the modern Sonic cast have devolved so much to the point where they all look like a bunch of babies. But I don't want to be completely negative, however, because there is somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel here. When we got the announcement of Sonic Colors Ultimate, everybody was shocked to see that Sega had taken an old render used for a wallpaper based off the game and completely redid Sonic's render. And it looks a million times better. See, it's not a good sign when everybody saw this and thought it was a fan render. Everything has been improved. His silhouette, his expression, it actually looks like a 2D piece of Yukawa artwork translated into 3D. And it only seemed to improve. Sure, we'd get the occasional whatever one like the renders from Sonic Frontiers, but hey, the box art looks alright at the very least. I think they just need to work on keeping their shapes more in 3D. Because when facing a front angle, it makes the character look like they're all face. Like Amy's render for the game, gross. But then we saw the light again with Sonic Superstars. These renders are great. You may think that's because classic Sonic is easier to pose, but I assure you they've fucked it up just as well before. That sure was a lot in a short amount of time, huh? I don't know, I do understand how inconsequential this all is. There's no way a little 5-year-old kid is looking at the box art for the newest Sonic game like, his silhouette doesn't have all 3 spikes. No purchase from me, Sega. But I think it's important to talk about from an artistic perspective. We're seeing all these new mascot platformers come out that either aim for hyper-realism like Ratchet & Clank or leans more into the cartooniness of the character like Crash Bandicoot 4. And I guess I'm just sick of feeling like Sonic has been coasting by, trying to do both but not really accomplishing either. Which just results in him looking kinda ugly in his newer games. Let me know what you think though, maybe I'm just being overreactive. But it's something that's been bothering me since Lost World. When was that? 10 years ago? Oh. And I hope that whatever comes next for modern Sonic, we see Sega get a bit more ambitious with the art direction. If not though, we're all gonna buy it anyway. Reach out for the sunshine.